Hey everyone, we're out here in what I think is maybe Oak Fusky. I'm not sure. It's about 7.5 miles or so north of Castle. It's on Highway 48. If you get off on Highway 48 off of I-40 and then just head north, you're going to get to this. Hopefully you can see. But it says Oak Fusky on this water tower. So you'll see this water tower. But more than that, you're going to see all these cars right here. There is actually a bunch of Volkswagen bugs here. And there's other cars back up through there. But my first car was a 1971 Volkswagen Super Beetle. So, and it was a cherry red orange. Hopefully you guys can hear all right with this wind. I'm using my phone. But it's a cherry red orange. But there are Volkswagens all the way down this, and even a couple rows of Volkswagens. You can see some brush in this. I don't know if it's growing or they've thrown it in there. It's like a bug graveyard though. Lots and lots of Volkswagen Beetles. So I don't know. To me it's fascinating. And there's some other Volkswagens in here. But I'm a pretty big fan of the Volkswagen Beetle, especially the old ones, and I guess it's because I had one. But I know, not everybody is. Hopefully that sun is not in your eyes, but it's kind of setting at a bad spot. That one actually had a sunroof in it. Lots and lots of Volkswagens. Just tons of them up here. So many bugs, it's like someone just sprayed Raid or something like that. I know that's kind of a bad joke, but there's just tons of them. Some of them have been in car wrecks. Others look in such good shape, you could just piece things together. I know the engines aren't in them. Some people might not be familiar with the old Volkswagens. They just know the new ones. But the old Volkswagens, the engines were in the rear, just like they were for the old Porsches and stuff like that. And so your front, where that one is, has the trunk lid open. That's where your trunk was. And your battery sat actually underneath the rear seat is where the battery was. But your gas tank was up front too. So it would be really cool to look through there, but we're not going to trespass. But you can see these parts on here. Some of these you could really piece one together because they've got some bits and pieces of each one that is good. I kind of like this one. It's rusty back there, but I kind of like that one back there. At least the front part of it's intact pretty good. Just tons of them though. Just cows, Volkswagen Beetles. If you look way over there, I know it's kind of hard because I'm using the front-facing camera on my phone. Probably the sun's in the way. There's actually more Volkswagen Beetles way over there in the distance. There's 1, 2, 3 rows right here going like this. But further on the other side, back through there, there's more Volkswagen Beetles. Of course, occasionally you get scattered in with one of the Golfs or something like that, or the Volkswagen things or something like that. But there's Volkswagen buses over there, a couple of them. More Volkswagen bugs over there. So if you like old cars, or you like Volkswagen Beetles, this is worth a stop. And just kind of neat to see so many. I've never actually seen this many together. Some of them have been in some pretty good car wrecks. But these cars back in their day were tiny, but by today's standards they're not quite so tiny as what they used to think. You know, you're talking about those big land yacht cars compared to these, and so they look tiny. But these were also solid metal. So you don't have airbags or anything like that, but you could actually withstand a pretty good wreck in these. Not against those old tanks of the old days, but against cars nowadays. Look at this one. I just now noticed. Kind of looks like it hit that tree or something. It didn't, of course, but it's just the way they pushed up against it. But you can see some of these have been wrecked pretty good. But yet it's not bad enough where someone probably would have died. At least we hope not. But you can see that gas tank in that one right there. Lots of traffic on this highway, but we're just kind of off the road here. So it's not too bad. Just noisy at times, but like I said, if you like old cars or something like this, this is unique. Because I don't think that you're going to see this many bugs anywhere else. This bug is actually parked between two trees, just kind of wedged in there. But this is a auto parts deal. Someone might know better than me. I think that could be a Ford Galaxy. Kind of have to blow up the screen and look and see. There's just a regular old van and a newer car there, but I want to say that could be a Ford Galaxy, but I am not an expert on that. I can tell you bugs and some other different cars, some old muscle cars, but not that one, I'm not for sure. But see the speedometer inside this green one right here? These are older with these bumpers on there like that, and they actually have these round tail lights versus more of a bigger. They went to a solid red, and then even later in the 70s they went to a red with amber on it. Those old round ones were older. So I mean, just walking up and down this, there's lots, and you can see more way up in the distance. Now there's other kinds of cars back there, but this is a Volkswagen dune buggy kind of specialist junkyard. And look at this. This one's been here so long that it looks like there's a tree growing out of the trunk. Remember, the trunk's in the front, so there's a tree growing out of the front. There's a tree growing out of the engine well area. That's where the engine would be. So it's been here a while. This guy's been collecting for quite some time. That looks like it's got a sunroof on it too. This one is definitely broken apart. Now, Sarah's down there taking pictures, but you can see this little trail right through here. So we are not the only ones that stop to see something like this. And this one right over there is a newer bug. You can see the taillight area is bigger. I know you got to zoom in for that. This is what I'm talking about, the solid red right there. Taillight, the kind of gray one with the rusty top a little bit, and that orange one. But the front end of that one over there looks pretty good. There's some surface rust, but it just looks like you could piece some of these together and get you something to go. It looks like they've cut to modify that one a little bit. There's more Volkswagen station wagons back there. I can see some Volkswagen things. It's actually what they were called, was a thing. Volkswagen Carmen Gias back there. They got the gas tank on that one out. Bunches and bunches of Volkswagen Beetles. Some are older, some are newer. And of course you got some newer cars there, but hopefully that sun is not in your eyes too much. Trying to angle it out of there. It's just barely above where it should be to give you guys kind of a decent view, but past this little, it's like a Chrysler van right there. Back up underneath the little cedar tree, those are more Volkswagen bugs. You can see them far off in the distance back through there. Old like 72 Chevrolet truck back there, but there's more bugs going off this way. guy is definitely a bug specialist. So anyways, this is something that I've been wanting to see for a long time. I've known about this. It's just a ways out here, and I was out in Okemah kind of documenting that little town. And if you're coming from Oklahoma City, this is on the way to Okemah. You know, it's just a little ways away from it. You know, before you get off to go to Okemah, you could do this, or you could hit it on the way back. We're actually hitting it on the way back. So as you're heading north on Highway 48, this will be on your west side. Like I said, you'll see that water tower right there. Just all these bugs. I would love to be able to go through here and just look on the inside, see what's left of these, like the dash, the odometer, the seats, see what all kinds of parts are left, the mirrors. These cars actually had the old vent wings, and you didn't have air conditioning, but what was cool is you could open that vent wing, face it the other way, and as you go down the road, the wind blows on that vent wing and it goes directly on you. So you really didn't need air conditioning. I mean, as long as you were moving down the road, you had a lot of wind coming on you. But they actually had outstanding heaters in it. Remember, a friend of mine, we were actually going to throw biscuits on a girl's car, and he busted the biscuits on the steering wheel, and one of the biscuits went down in the floorboard by the heater. The heater actually cooked the biscuit. Now, it was slightly raw on the inside, but the whole outside of the biscuit was cooked. So these heaters, you could not turn on all the way. And the way it was a lever in the center between the driver's seat and the passenger's seat. And you could turn on either the driver's side or the passenger side or both. So normally you would just kind of turn one on halfway, because they had no adjustment to them. The faster you went or the more that you stepped on the gas meant the more heat that came in. So if you were flooring that, it was just solid heat. So we were going down the interstate after we'd busted the biscuits and didn't realize it, and that's when it actually cooked one of the biscuits. But anyways, this is north of Castle. You get off on I-40, just start heading north on Highway 48. Give you kind of a view this way where the sun's not in your eyes so much. And you'll run across this Bugville, bug graveyard. But to me, it's fascinating just to see these old cars. Any kind of old cars to me are fascinating. Back when they built these things with solid metal, and you know, they built bugs forever. They started building these things when actually in Germany under Hitler in 1936, and they haven't changed them a whole lot. It's basically the same thing until they stopped having them in America in 1979. But when the British took over their part of Germany, they actually were the ones to keep the Volkswagens going. If it wasn't for the British, the Volkswagen bugs would be dead and the Volkswagen company would be dead. They drove them around after the occupation time, and they realized how good they were in the snow and traveling around everywhere, and how efficient they were and how fun they were to drive. So the British fell in love with them, and they're actually the ones that are responsible for it going so long. Of course, they were a big hit in America, big hit everywhere. And then after the late 70s, they started building them down in Mexico. And then, as you guys probably know now, there's more modern ones, but they're just not the same. They're not this solid piece of steel like this. They've got plastic on it, and they don't have that engine in the rear. And you know, these things aren't faster by any means. You know, they actually sound like a beetle. They look like a beetle, but they sound like a beetle, just a sound going down the road. So the new ones, they don't sound like that. But anyways, thanks guys for tuning in and watching this little adventure. This is something I wanted to see for a long time, so to me this is exciting. So catch you guys later.